everybody. I'm here with Subi. She is an Instagram expert. She has grown 18 businesses. She hit the seven-figure mark in her early 20s, and I am so glad that you are here. Thank you so much for being here, Sue.
Yeah, it's great to connect with you, especially since you hung out in my city, Boston, quite a bit when you were younger.
I know. Subi just gave me a tour. She's flipped her camera around and it was pretty awesome. I know exactly where you are. You know how I know where you are in Boston. Yeah, if you're watching the YouTube, you're seeing her flip around and see this incredible view. And the reason why I know where you are is because when I was in college, I would shop at Filene's Basement, which I'm pretty sure is near where you live.
This building used to be Filene's Basement.
Well, of course, that's how I know exactly where it was. I didn't have the same view when I was shopping in college and finding the Eileen's Basement, but I know exactly where you are based on where you turned your camera around. And you have been growing businesses for a kind of a long time. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
The Instagram expert is your 18th business. Is that right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So what made you be curious about Instagram? Like what drew you in about Instagram? Because the stereotype is like 18-year-old influencers doing cartwheels half naked, right? And like what made you say like, "Oh, Instagram's going to be where I'm going to, be home."
Yeah. Well, I have three daughters and my twins, we were on vacation in Belize and my twins, Lila and Kira, were scrolling on their phone. I had no idea what they were doing. And I taught social media when I didn't have my seaside shop on Cape Cod. And I'm looking at this motion. They weren't talking, they weren't tapping. It was like this scroll. And I asked them what they were doing. They're like, okay, mom, we're on Instagram. Do not get on it because then you're going to teach it. And so, of course, I got on it because you always do what your teenagers are doing because you know it's going to be a mobile trend. So I started on Instagram and using it for my seaside shop on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. And I had that store for 7 years and my sales increased so significantly from posting photos with geolocations. People came in asking for literally the thing I posted, and I couldn't believe it because I was doing sandwich boards outside my store, posting on Facebook. I was the mayor at Foursquare at Starbucks. Like I was on Twitter. I did all of it, Pinterest, you name it. And here I was in my store making sales from Instagram from just posting. So I went off to a conference in California that was all about online marketing. I knew nothing about online marketing. I did not know the terminology. I didn't know what an affiliate was. And I went to this conference and I'm like, wait, you can make money online just teaching? I don't have to schlep my shit all over Massachusetts anymore. Because I used to go to all the craft shows and the trade shows and bring my stuff and set up at the temples and the churches. And yeah, I brought the store to people all the time. And I just found it fascinating that I could sell information. So I major shift and I just learned everything from all the right experts, all the right people at the time. We're talking 8 years ago. I attended masterminds. I signed up for classes, courses, coaches, and just fast tracked to success because I knew that Instagram was going to be massive. I'm really good at spotting trends. That's part of my superpower. And I knew that Instagram was going to be huge because of the storytelling and visual aspect. And I am a visual learner and it just speaks to me. And most people, women my age, just don't get it or think they can do it with confidence.
That's so interesting. And I think it's so fascinating too that you came from retail into Instagram because spotting trends and anticipating what people want is part of being a great retailer.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you translated that to Instagram. So tell me what life is like for you today. So you've grown this company.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me just go back one more story. I think it will add context to this conversation. So one of my many businesses was selling products to the scrapbook industry when it was trending. So I was on QVC. I was like Joy on QVC. I was on twice. And I used to teach people how to embellish real photos on like QVC and using tape, my double-sided tape, treasure tape, and my little beads called beadlets. And before your eyes, magically on QVC, there was transformation with texture and yarn and threads, and it was fabulous. And
Would
so
it
it's
be okay to say bedazzling?
kind of, but not really. It
Okay.
was like, it was that trendy time when like
Yeah.
when rhinestones and cabochons. But just imagine taking a photo and adding beads to make the water glisten, or sand from the beach to put on the sand. So it was like when you create magic before someone's eyes, they want what you're selling. And
Yeah.
we sold out. I got asked back again. It was amazing. And it's ironic that now I'm teaching the world how to use Instagram and all of the features within the app to embellish their photos. So it's kind of interesting.
Isn't that interesting? When we are doing something, even if it feels hard or it feels like a grind, it's always the training ground for the next entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
Isn't that so true?
Yeah, and I always lean into the thing that brings me the most joy, and I always have. And when you said, "Oh my gosh, she has 18 business," everyone's listening. It's like, okay, that's crazy, but I know when to pivot, morph, shift, change, because my life, if it ain't joyful, I am not doing it.
Yes, I love that. If it's not fun, we run. Because sometimes we do things, and I've gotten caught up in this mindset in entrepreneurship because people tell you should. Oh, you have this amazing brick and mortar, you should franchise it, or you should do that. And you're like, probably great idea. I probably should. And a lot of times what we do is we suppress that joy. And it sounds like you've been really good at knowing
Yeah,
when it was really time to make a shift towards what felt most joyful for you.
definitely, always. And I love teaching Instagram. So there's that.
Yes. When people say like, "Oh, I don't like taking photos of myself. I don't like showing up. I don't like being the face of my company on Instagram." Like, what would you say to that?
I always say that when people get to know you and the reason why you show up in the world doing what you do, they feel more intimately connected. And in order for that to happen faster, they need to hear you, see you, and trust you.
Yes, yes. I think that's so, so good. So when it comes to Instagram, the platform, you're a big fan of treating people as friends and not necessarily fans. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I love connecting with people. I always have, and building community is one of my biggest joys and what I'm most proud of, because within our paid programs, I have a phenomenal community of women primarily who just lift each other higher. And I don't care about followers. I just don't. I care about opportunities to amplify my message and connect people. And yeah, I mean, fans are just like fans. They just like, I mean, truth be told, when I travel around the world, occasionally a fan hears my voice and knows who I am and wants to take a selfie. Like it happened in Iceland, of all places. And it was awkward. It was weird. It was okay. Yeah, I guess you
Yeah.
can take my selfie. But I mean, I just think real connections happen when there's real conversations. And that's how I lead every day that I create content and show up in this world.
And it sounds like also being secure in yourself. Like you have to really know who you are and like who you are to be able to go out on Instagram or on social media and be good, be totally cool with people saying I might just not like that, right? Like other people saying I might not like you for who you are. How do you think people overcome that?
Oh, I overcome that all the time. Because, some people don't like when I drop an F bomb, or they don't like my Boston accent, and that's okay. But those that do lean into me, love me, and it's all good. You have to have thick skin if you're going to be an online educator and make a big impact in the world. And the truth is, the more successful you get, the more some of these quote unquote haters could pop up. I get them all the time on my YouTube channel, SubiZimmerman.com/YouTube, for those of you that want to like really learn Instagram. People can be mean and they're just jealous. It's their own projected there. It's, in my opinion, it's their own projection of what's going on in their personal life, in their head. It has nothing to do with me, because I know that I show up with integrity, and I know that I show up and serve, and I know that I'm fun and funny and happy, and living life to it my fullest. And yeah, it's all good over here. in Boston.
With your Boston accent, park in the car. So when you have grown this online business,
Yeah.
which I know you've been around the block as an entrepreneur, you've grown it to the seven-figure mark. Was there anything unusual or unexpected that had come up in this journey that you really hadn't experienced previously?
Um, I don't know if unusual or unexpected, but what I will say is I am pretty ballsy and I break rules. So if there's something I want, I don't stop till I get it. So I would always identify the most significant people in a room when I went to a conference, or the speaker
Mm.
or the person smarter or further along, and I would connect with them. Like I literally would say, I'm going to be on a stage with them someday, or I'm going to be on their podcast. And every time I kind of manifest what I want, I'm able to make it happen. I just don't stop till it does. I'm persistent. So, um, there have definitely been some hiccups and bumps along the way. I mean, I now have a team of 16, and it's pretty exciting. Now I get to just really be front facing, teaching and educating, and not worrying about all of the little details that go into running an online business. But that comes with success.
Yeah.
So I guess if you got really specific with a question, I could, if your audience needs to hear like a specific answer, like to a question that will serve, just go deeper.
Yeah, yeah. So I think a lot of times when we're growing businesses, things come up that can get in the way of achieving that next level of success. And you have really, I think, in a lot of ways, it seems like as you're saying it, that this is something that you were enjoying the everyday, right? Like, what were some of the big obstacles you had to
Yeah.
overcome to get to
Yeah.
where you are now?
Yeah. So I think there's stories in your head that can take over your existence. For
Mhm.
me, I would look and see what everyone else was doing that was an Instagram educator. And there's a shit ton, let me just tell you. And at the end of the day, people align with people for different reasons. Like I'm constantly getting comments on YouTube that say, I'm so glad that you're not in your 20s because I like learning from you. I know that you're talking from experience. It's all about experience and wisdom and knowledge. And so I needed to shut down all these other people initially when I started in this space that I thought were further ahead than me. Many have died out and have been lost by the wayside, but some are still around today, but they are so different in personality and in their approach of teaching Instagram. I come at my approach very much from a business boss mindset. I'm all about making the Benjamins and teaching people how to really make money. Like that is but you can't make money until you can't make income until you make an impact. And so I really break down how to set yourself up for success. But back to your question. So I unfollowed any accounts that distracted me. I unsubscribed from emails from people that were in the online guru space that I thought I had to like watch everything and go down every single sales funnel and on every single webinar that took me to 500 million places, and just shut that shit down. And I left Facebook groups that weren't serving me either. And when I started waking up every day with my agenda of what I wanted to do, accomplish, and who I wanted to attract, the business just soared. It really did. It's like letting go of all these other distractions.
That's incredible advice. I love that you're saying this because you came in as an experienced entrepreneur. It's probably easy to look from the outside and be like, oh, she really didn't struggle very much. She's like 16 employees, living the dream, sailed, no, no bumps in the road, just sailed her way there. But it sounds like at first it was easy to kind of get caught up in what everybody else was doing or who other people thought you should be as an Instagram expert.
Yeah. And I just, at this stage of my life, when I really care so much more about impact and legacy,
Yeah.
I'm able to show up as my true authentic self and not give a shit, and And I think that's hard for a lot of women. I think that they want to please and, um, my kids are grown and out of the house, and I have time to focus on my life every day. And, whether it's making sure I work out and I eat healthy and I take time for self-care and all that good stuff that everyone strives for, I am really fortunate. I do this because I love it. I don't have to do this. This is not something that I need to do to get anything that I can't get in my life. It's
Yeah.
literally from a place of service and joy, and I know my value. So, I mean, knowing your worth and your value, and saying that with confidence is important also.
Yeah, and I think it's probably really important to showing up authentically online, because if you're looking for external validation, you're going to get discouraged real fast. And it's so interesting too what you're saying, because I think for many seven-figure entrepreneurs and people who have scaled businesses and had success, you get to a certain point where you're paying, like your comfort is covered. You're totally fine, right, financially. And what I hear you saying, it's really about the impact that you get to make for other people at this point.
Yeah.
That's your primary focus.
Yeah, I'm really fortunate. I don't have to work a day in my life. I have more money than I could spend. It's not about the money for me.
Mm.
It really isn't. The money justifies the value. The money is an exchange of energy and value, and you need to know your value. And I love that I have a team and I have a CEO that runs my company like a boss. I mean, literally, she tells me what to do every day. She's systems, processes, automation. I'm an entrepreneur, creative educator, and we've got this great yin and yang balance. And she shows up in my feed a lot, and it's like you're not too young, you're not too old, it's not too late. And
Yeah.
it's like you got one life, make it the best life.
So good. So let's talk about Instagram, because I know a lot of people are love your education when it comes to Instagram, and they love learning from you.
Yes.
So when you are teaching Instagram, would you say that there's any particular method that works particularly well when increasing engagement? A lot of people have struggled with, and even people I've spoken to who are very successful are like, I'm giving up on Instagram. I can't get it to show on other people's feeds. I'm over it. I'm just going to run paid traffic. Forget it. Is there certain methods that you're finding are working well right now when it comes to engagement?
Yeah. So I think the most important thing for everyone to hear is that for me, it's conversations are my biggest metric. Is the content that I'm putting out resonating with the audience I want to serve? And are they asking questions? And are there comments? Because at the end of the day, you can buy likes, you can buy followers, but you cannot buy real comments. And comment threads are my gold standard. And if I'm not having a conversation with comments, then there's something wrong with that content. So, with that being said, you have to know exactly what to be producing to help your audience and serve your audience. And we do. So, with that comes creating content in what I call the 5 Subi neighborhoods, because Instagram likes when you create content in all the different features. So, whether it's the feed, it's stories, it's IGTV live or IGTV or a reel, or now guides is a new feature. It's important to always consistently be creating the right kind of content. And for me, as you know, it's all always on brand, whether it's my outfits and what I'm wearing or the color palette of my feed. It's really memorable, and being memorable keeps you top of mind. And so for me, it's not always is the person that's following me and watching me the customer. It's am I making an impact so that they would talk about me in a Clubhouse room or in a networking event or in a Facebook group? Because so much of the success in our business now happens from other people amplifying the work that we do. And to me, this is success. So even if you think no one's looking, oh, they are. People are always looking. They're silently looking. They're lurking. They're checking you out. And when they are ready, they will say, okay, Sue, I've been following you for 5 years. I'm like, 5 years and you haven't left one comment? Like, are you kidding me? And they're like, yeah, I'm ready to have you coach me. And I'm like, wait, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm in my Clubhouse rooms, 5 days a week at 8 to 9, and I always say your comments are my cash. If you like what I'm teaching, just leave me a comment. Let me know how I helped you, how I served you, because it helps with engagement and more people will see it.
Yes. 8 to 9 Eastern
8 to 9 Eastern. Yes.
is when you have your Clubhouse rooms. Very cool. Yes. And I want to chat about Clubhouse in a minute. And when it comes to Instagram, a lot of the people that are listening are scaling companies. So they are people who are beyond that startup stage. They're following this podcast because they're learning about leadership, they're learning about team management. And what do you think are some of the mistakes that people make when they're scaling on their Instagram? Like, is there a certain point where they stop engaging, or, what are some of the things that you see
Yeah.
happening?
Well, we're going through a little bit of a growth pain right now. So you heard me say I have a team of 16. We just hired someone to help with all of the engagement because I just can't keep up with it. And I'm sick and tired of looking at my phone all day. I really am. And even though I got lens replacement surgery and I can see 20/20 now, I don't want my eyes on my phone all day.
Yeah.
So, I'm one of the first few people that got access to an approved bot. And if you go into my DM on the Instagram expert and you type 3 keys or you type guide, you'll see Beth, which is my middle name, the bot working and giving you what you want. And so for me, this is a game changer because now we have some automation in the DM that feels a little like Subi. It's snarky enough to feel my energy. And it doesn't feel salesy. It doesn't feel it's automated, but it's smart automation. And so that's going to be coming to everyone soon. Right now, they're in beta. It's called Mobile Monkey. And I'm just excited because Larry, the founder, is right over the bridge in Cambridge, and his office is on Newbury Street, really close to me.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So what I hear you saying is that with some artificial intelligence and being able to put in the actual correspondence that feels like you when they're
Yeah.
scaling, I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, they have this incredible connection with their audience, and then they start scaling and they lose that connection.
Yeah, so I want to maintain that connection. So to go back to your question, I always want people to feel my energy and a piece of me, even if I can't personally comment on every comment or answer every question. I've hired, in addition to this bot, I've hired someone just this last week who is going to help keep up with all of it. Because at the end of the day, you have to do what brings you the most joy.
Yeah.
And as much as I love communicating and connecting with my audience, I like teaching and showing up, on lots of podcasts. I've been interviewed on lots of podcasts, and to my pro community, my students. And there's only so many hours in a day. You got to fit in the workout and all the good stuff too, right?
Yeah. And then what do you do for scheduling content? Because that's something that I've seen even a lot of my clients. I work exclusively with 7-figure business owners. I see them struggling with. It's like there gets to
Oh
be a certain
yeah.
point in which you're so busy managing the team and the things, but ultimately you're the only one that can create those reels.
Yes and no. So I have someone on my team creating my reels, but we've met up in person and did 80 videos in Monterey, California. My social head of social and my CEO. And as long as you have the clip, someone else can piece them all together. So
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore. But we use Plannable, and I shared that with you. I have a free 7-day trial, and we use Trello to organize our boards, and we're out a couple of weeks in advance with content. And we use Plannable to plan and schedule the content.
We'll put that in the show notes so that people have access to that. That's really cool and very
Yeah.
interesting. Any other tip for people who are, they once were able to kind of really, really implement their own Instagram strategy, and they're just getting to a point where they're starting to outgrow it?
Well, that's me. I mean, and I kind of like it because I want to travel the world and do more travel. So I love that my team can kind of take over. I have someone writing all my captions on my team, and they know the way I talk, and I might tweak it a little bit when I post it. But we got a shit ton of photo shoots. I got more photos than you can ever imagine. So we got all the photos of Subi organized, color coded in folders in Drive. And if someone understands who you're talking to, you can hire someone to craft those captions. And I am letting go more and more of the actual work of doing it, and I'm holding on more to teaching it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I know also moving from Instagram to Clubhouse, you have really embraced Clubhouse,
Love
and
it.
that's how we met. We think we were in a
Yeah.
couple different stages together. And when it comes to Clubhouse, is there any particular tip that you find has been useful for you in growing your audience? And ultimately, a lot of people ask me like, well, is it just a waste of time, or am I actually going to grow my business? And you've really grown your business on
Oh
Clubhouse.
yeah. I'm very strategic with what I do and where I spend my time. And I always wanted my own podcast, but that's way too much work. So I'm not doing that. Clubhouse is my daily podcast where there's FOMO. So I do a room every day, as you heard, and it's always about Instagram strategies, tips, and features. And I do audits. And on my stage, I only have my paid students as moderators. And so I always ask my moderators what they learned that they applied on Instagram, or I asked them, what did you learn recently that I taught you that you can share with the audience? So my students are also teaching the audience. And it's so fascinating because the more students I have on stage, the more I sell, because people want to be on my stage and buy my coaching or my program because they want to get some time as a moderator. We do
Yeah.
bring up questions every day, and I'm very tight with the time, 8 to 9, and I'm very strategic with call to actions, getting people to subscribe to my YouTube channel, getting people to download my free training, which is a lead generator. We get a couple hundred opt-ins a day every time I show up. But honestly, it's not just my own room. I usually grow like 200 new followers on Clubhouse a day, at
So it's
least.
amazing. It's
and
amazing.
and and it's not just from doing my own room, it's also from going into the right rooms that need to hear what I have to say.
Yes, that's so awesome. I've been on your Clubhouse rooms before, and you have an incredible following. You'll go up on stage and a whole bunch of people will come in. So it's obvious how many people find value from what it is that
Yeah.
you're sharing, and really love it.
Well, that's the beauty of telling people to turn on notifications if they like what they are hearing. And because I have so much experience in business, I don't
Yeah.
just talk about Instagram. I can pretty much talk about a conversation from experience. And I think that that's one of my gifts, is that I can think on my feet really quickly and give an answer that's going to help the person who asked the question and make them feel good, make them feel heard. And, it's just a shorter conversion time with those people that you're making an impact with.
Yeah, because they get to fall in love with you really fast and then just follow you right over onto Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
So, as we are wrapping up here, is there any favorite Instagram hack or anything, even Clubhouse hack? As we were talking about Clubhouse, but Instagram, I know, is your specialty.
Yeah, let me talk about a quick little Instagram hack that I think everyone will appreciate. So, I don't know if anyone knows this, but there is an opportunity for you to kind of batch produce your content without needing a scheduling tool like I just shared. You simply can upload the photos that you love and then use the back arrow to save it as a draft. So, you can save all of your drafts on Instagram and plan your week without stressing it.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And then you just go in and just hit post
Yeah,
whenever that time of day is that you feel like you want to post.
exactly. And I think this is helpful for a lot of people that just like, wait, I need a scheduler. And how do I use that scheduler? And what do I do? We
Yeah.
have this schedule. So because we coach students at a high level, we're part of their content creation. We don't do it for them, but we edit what they've done. So every student in our program gets a workspace in Plannable, and my team and I are able to go into their workspace and edit the work they've done before they've published it. So it's great for anyone that has a team, or just you're coaching multiple people.
That's fascinating. So you're really hands on.
Oh my gosh, my coaching program is Phenomenal. Yes. It's not just Instagram, it's online marketing. It's everything you need to understand to become the go-to authority, using Instagram as a marketing tool, but connecting all the pieces of creating a boss bio, establishing your content buckets, mass batch producing, creating your opt-in, your email sequence, your website, the branding, all of the pieces. There's so many.
Is there any common mistake that you see people making that you fix every single time?
Yeah, they don't have a good hook. Meaning
Mhm.
the first 73 to 5 characters are the most important, and it's not about their target audience, it's too much about themselves. I just went on vacation to the Caribbeans and bought this new bathing suit. I don't care.
Nobody cares.
We only care about ourselves.
So how would you fix something like that?
If you're interested in getting a bathing suit that makes you look 10 pounds lighter and lifts your butt, keep reading.
Yeah, can you send me that link actually? No, I'm just kidding. Um, that's really cool. I love that tip. I think people will get a lot out of it. So I
Good.
know your coaching program is awesome. I know that you are an incredible wealth of knowledge. If people want to connect with you, we'll
Yeah.
put this link in the show notes that you sent over, which is the Plannable, which comes to content planning and scheduling, which I know is a lot of people's pain points, especially when they have a team and they're starting to really grow. And then where else can they get in touch with you if they want to learn more
Yeah.
about your programs?
So I always like giving call to action. So I would love for every single one of you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified every Monday. I do drop a new video. They're under 5 minutes ish. They will help you. Also, the Instagram expert is where you can find me. I want you to tell me on my last post what you enjoyed hearing the most. And I love my action takers. I promise you, I will see it. I will get a notification, and I just like hearing what you learned. And then, lastly, if you are addicted to Clubhouse and love listening, find me. It's my name, and follow me there, and just come into my rooms, and you can learn a lot.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. So much wonderful information. I really appreciate it, Subi. And we will leave those links in the show notes. And I just appreciate you being here so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.